Hey, y'all, welcome back to Right at the Wire. Well, we certainly had a tumultuous Derby prep weekend, and just when you thought you were things were taking shape and the list was firming up and we knew who we had, we have a few monkey wrenches thrown into the equation. Some pretty wild results, and certainly that's going to mean some changes to our top 25 list. Now, as we had done last week, we are trying to put a list together that is reflective of what the top 20 in the race likely will be. In other words, the 20 that are likely to run, and then 5 are also eligibles also eligibles. So let's take a look at that 5 at a time and see how it shakes out. Number 25 is Major Dude. We'll see what his connections do if he does, in fact, end up drawing in due to defections. But this one is definitely better on turf for sure. The Jeff Ruby, he had a nice effort on synthetic, but I think that was more indicative that he's better suited for turf. He does have some dirt form from his 2-year-old season, but it was just okay. I wouldn't say it was spectacular or special in any way. So we'll see what his connections want to do. Number 24 is Mandarin Hero. What a nice effort in the Santa Anita Derby. That was a big surprise. He's on the Japanese JV, so I think that just shows we've got to take them seriously this year. And I think this one, if he does draw in, could really do some damage and be a factor. Number 23 is Jace's Road. I think he's got some distance limitations, and he would be more of a pace factor than anything else. But this field really needs that. So I'm kind of hoping he draws in just so some of the more prominent horses have somebody to run to. Number 22 is Instant Coffee, one of the many who, if in fact he draws in, can get up for a slice. We just have a lot of runners like that, and he's one of the better ones. I don't think he quite has the top end to be a win candidate, but I think he's definitely a candidate to be in the money. Number 21 is Disarm. I would really like to see this one in the Derby. I think he's got a lot of upside. They have been rushing his training, as noted, but he seems to have the talent to deal with it. Had a pretty good second in the Louisiana Derby, and from his 2-year-old form, I think we know that he's got a lot of potential. So I'd like to see that unfurled in the Derby. And being up near the lead is also an ideal running style for this crop this year. Number 20 is Wild on Ice. Why is he number 20? Because he's probably going to run in the Derby field, and it'll be a field of 20. That's the only reason. He's an immediate toss. He ran a 78, I think, for the Sunland Derby. That's not even close to cutting it at this level, and even if he leaps forward, I don't anticipate this one being a factor whatsoever, so he's an immediate toss. Number 19 is Cyclone Mischief. I think he's a cut below the better 3-year-olds here. He did show improvement in the Florida Derby and an ability to rate, but I think he would be more of a pace factor than anything else, and I really don't see him as a serious contender. Number 18 is Continuar. He is by invitation only from the Japanese, and boy, if Mandarin Hero's effort when the Santa Anita Derby was any indication, we've really got to take them seriously this year. He's done pretty well on the Derby trail for the Japanese. He's finished behind Dermo Sotogake a couple of times, so this one may have some talent. We'll see how he trains and see how he does at Churchill. Number 17 is Confidence Game. I think we saw the best we're going to get out of him in the Rebel Stakes, and I think the mud definitely aided his effort. He was drifting out on the stretch, not changing leads. I think that's a horse that's topped out. So he's in the race. Big red flag, him training up to the Derby. And I don't consider him to be a win candidate or much of a contender. Number 16 is Lord Miles. What a big effort in the Wood Memorial. I think the fact that he had been running in Florida in some less than stellar races kind of clouded his form. But, from the Holy Bull to the Florida Derby, or not the Florida Derby, but his race prior to this one, he had definitely shown some improvement. And I think we overlooked it at 59-1. A lot of people did. But he ran a big race, and he is a son of Curlin. So there is some potential here. We'll have to see how he trains. But he might be a sleeper. You never know. And this year with this field, anything's possible. So Lord Miles, I'm very interested to see how his training goes and how he carries forward. Number 15 is Ray's Cane. Really didn't do too much running in the bluegrass, and his lone win for the Derby Preps is at one turn at the Gotham with a kind of a wild and crazy race. So not sure what to make of this one. I still think this one has a little bit of talent. You can't draw off from a field like that without having some ability, but I think he's likely a cut below, and again, he falls into that big grab bag of horses who can clunk up for third or fourth because he does run late. Number 14 is Sun Thunder. He's, I think he's kind of plateaued as to what he's going to do, it seems. He ran yesterday in the bluegrass, and he did what he's basically been doing. He rated mid-pack or towards the rear, made a mild close, and he ended up getting for third. So he's in the Derby, but I think we need him to find a way to step and move forward. He showed a lot of promise early on, but he seems to have hit a brick wall. So maybe Kenny McPhee can shuffle the deck a little bit and get some more out of him. Number 13 is Rocket Can. He, as noted, I think he's probably plateaued and has gone as far as he's going to go. I think we saw that in the Arkansas Derby that he wasn't able to keep up. And so I think that's the best he's going to do. Frank Fletcher, his owner, has stated that unless he has a real solid chance to win, he's not interested in going to the Derby. So this one might be a defection. We'll just have to see. Number 12 is Reincarnate. He's proven what he is. He's a grinder. He's one-paced, doesn't have a lot of late lick. I think he's better suited to be up on the lead, and they've been trying to rate him, but it just doesn't seem to be working for him. Two pretty dull thirds in his last two races in the Rebel and the Arkansas Derby. I like this one better for the Belmont because of his stamina and his running style, and getting on the lead, he might be able to wire. We'll see. But for the Derby, I think he's, he'll be, if he's up near the pace, then he might be able to end up with a share, and we'll see how he trains. But proving once again, the California shippers really haven't been so hot this year. Number 11 is Skinner. He basically replicated what he did in the San Felipe and the Santa Anita Derby yesterday. Made a fairly early move this time, which I always like, and to try to bust the race open. But you can't ignore the fact that he flattened out in the stretch and was no match for Practical Move or Mandarin Hero. So I think he's a nice horse. He looks maybe like he's found his plateau. I'm not sure. But I'm skeptical about a move forward. But nonetheless, he's another one in the group that could, because of his running style, end up in the exotics. So we'll have to take him seriously, see how he trades. So now we've reached our top 10. Number 10 is Hit Show. He fought valiantly in the Wood Memorial, but I'm not sure what kind of field that was he was up against. And he didn't get the W, but still, he overcame a pretty tough post position, and we'll give him credit for that. I still think he's a cut below. He didn't really run against anything in New York, and that field was sort of hodgepodge together just to give him something to run in, and he didn't win. So this one, again, another one who could get in the exotics late. We'll see about his post in the Derby. We'll see about how he trains, but he's a cut below in my book. Number 9 is Maze. Maze shows a lot of promise. That Florida Derby was really cool run, a great move by his jockey to bust it open. But you got to wonder that he still wasn't able to close the deal with all those advantages. And he is still young. He's got a lot of upside. He's definitely got to break better from the gate. And if he does, I think he would be more likely to be a serious contender if he's up near the pace early on. But he definitely has some talent, and we'll see how he trains. But I think Mage is potentially a win candidate if he moves another step. Kings Barnes, kind of hard to know what to make of him. He had a soft lead in the Louisiana Derby. Nobody wanted it. He took it. He won. Nobody went to get him. I think it speaks more to the quality of the field being a little substandard as opposed to Kings Barnes winning the race. But you can't deny the fact that he has the stamina. He drew off pretty impressively. And why wouldn't he when he set fractions that slow? So we really don't know what to make of Kings Barnes in my view. Now, I think his early running style is definitely a plus. I think he's bred for the distance. I don't think that's an issue. And we'll just have to see. But he's kind of a wild card because again, it's sort of hard to evaluate him with only 3 starts. Two Phils is he's the he's the grinder in the group. He's always there. He's always in contention. You can almost reverse key him for the try of the Super. I think he may have some distance limitations. He looked like he was backing up on dirt a little bit at the fairgrounds, but you can't deny that really nice effort at Turfway. But I think that was product of having a shorter stretch and the synthetic surface, which Larry Ravelli is really good with putting horses on it. Still, can't deny this one's quality, and he's definitely a contender. I don't know if I'd make him a win candidate, but I think he's definitely in the mix. Number 6 is Verifying. Had a really nice effort in the Bluegrass, and Tapit Trice was just a little better. That's all it was. I think he ran his race. I think he definitely showed that he has some talent. Being a stalker is definitely going to help when it comes to this year's Derby. But I wonder about his top end. It might be not quite comparable to some of the better in here, but he's in the mix, and we'll see how he trains. Our top 5 begins with Practical Move. Yes, he dropped a couple of spots. He did win the Santa Anita Derby, and he showed a lot of grit fighting off Mandarin Hero. But I'm kind of starting to think that the California horses aren't so hot. The shippers haven't really done terribly well, save for Arabian Night. And this one, I think, probably is one of the best of the group, but I don't know how much that says. I think still I have some questions of whether 1.25 miles is what this one wants, but you can't deny the talent there, and I think he had a nice effort, and he's certainly in the mix as a contender, particularly the way he runs up near the pace. Number 4 is Tapit Trice. He answered every question that we had. He broke a lot better. He handled kickback. He dealt with traffic, and he stayed focused, and he got the win fighting with a lot of grit against Verifying. So I think Todd Pletcher's to be credited. I think he did an excellent job conditioning this one and overcoming the issues that this one had. And the only question I have is I don't know how handy he is. His running style is kind of loping, and I wonder how he's going to be at negotiating a large field, particularly if he has traffic issues. Still, there's plenty of talent there, and you'd have to consider him a Derby contender nonetheless. Number 3 is Derma Sotogake. He moves up more based upon what Mandarin Hero did than what he has. Mandarin Hero seems to be a secondary Japanese 3-year-old, and Derma Sotogake is not. And so we move him up. In particular, his running style really is going to be a big advantage, being on the lead. He appears to have the distance, the stamina, not without a problem, and I think he's awful dangerous. So he definitely merits consideration this year. So he's number 3. Number 2 is Angel of Empire, the Rodney Dangerfield of the group. They keep finding ways to discount this horse. It just amazes me. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's been the poster child for Derby progression. He's gotten better with every race. He's showing a nice turn of foot, push button acceleration, and I think he's a win candidate. And I'm a little stunned that he's not being taken more seriously, but that's fine with me. I'll take the overlay, and I'll bet him with both hands. Number 1 is Forte. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's clearly the class of this 3-year-old crop, and really he is the class because there's less wrong with him than with the other horses. So I don't know how much that says about this year's crop. He was flat in the youth. He did exactly what he was supposed to do to start the year. Florida Derby, he wasn't a post that compromised his chances a little bit, but he overcame it. And really, in the last furlong, with that kick to get up in the wire when everything was against him, he looked like he was going to lose. I think showed a lot of class. So, provided he trains forward, he's definitely a win candidate and should be considered the prime win candidate for this year's Derby. So, as you can see, our list has had a lot of permutations just based upon horses bowing out or likely to bow out, and or who didn't get requisite points from performance. And also, it's designed to reflect what the field would look like if they drew the Derby today, what that top 20 would look like, and who are the horses on the outside looking in. Certainly, we will adjust it if there are defections and horses like Disarm and Instant Coffee, who should really be a lot higher on the list. If they get in, we'll adjust it accordingly. So, of course, always be on the lookout for that. We will have we will recap all the Derby preps. Probably have that for you on Sunday or first thing Monday. And we also will continue our Keeneland card series. So every day that Keeneland runs races, we will have a posting of a betting opportunity that we'll evaluate for you and hopefully give you some insight for your wagering. Also, one of the things that I was been toying with doing that I think you're really going to like is there are a number of different elements to handicapping each Derby contender individually to evaluate them and see how they're going to contend. A lot of you guys already know how to do it, and some of this will be old hat to you. But I intend to have a series where we go through the different elements of handicapping Derby contenders. So for some of you newer people, this may be an eye-opener and show you some different ways to grade your horses and maybe choose the ones that you want to use, and more importantly, who to throw out. So that'll be on the horizon probably within a week or so. And when we get a firmer field, and then it'll be easier to do. If you like what you see here, of course, please like and subscribe. And we really do appreciate it. And I love hearing from you guys. Thanks so much for the comments. We really do appreciate it. And we will have plenty to talk about later on. So until then, be well.